Thank you, Andy. That's a very powerful introduction there. I feel like I ought to meet myself now. All right, but like I said, I am Bill Fortenberry. I started Fortenberry Marketing back this past December. Prior to that, I have a history, kind of accidentally fell into starting businesses. My training and degree is all in education. I taught high school for 5 years, coached basketball and all that, and then had to go through a shift. I was moving from one location to another state, and thought maybe I would get an advanced degree and maybe teach on a collegiate level, something like that. And then we put our house on the market, and we had great plans. And y'all know how it is as real estate agents. The year we put our house on the market, it was 2008. And so then we ended up losing quite a bit on that house and short selling it. So that put all the plans for additional degrees and all that on hold. Had a friend contact me and said, hey, I'm starting a business and I need someone to do sales and marketing for me. Would you come along and help out? And so I helped my friend start his business. Actually started it in 2010. 5 years after that, my dad came to me and said, hey, I want to start a business. And he wanted to start a thrift store. And so I said, well, sure, I'll come along and help with that. So I started that. Along the way, I started a business on the side for myself. My wife wanted to start a business, so I helped her start a business. And so I've over the past 15 years or so, I've either started or helped start 5 businesses, 2 nonprofits, and even helped start with 1 church. So nothing I planned to do, just kind of fell into my lap. And I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy being an entrepreneur and helping businesses get their products out there on the market. My side business that I started, that one back about 2010, about the same time I helped my friend start his business. I am an author and a speaker. 10 books, as Andy mentioned. I travel around, speak at churches and events, speak primarily encouraging Christians to be somebody for the Lord. I also speak on American history as well. Several of my books are on that topic. All right, I mentioned my dad. I helped him start his business in 2015. He started a thrift store in Center Point. And if you know anything about Birmingham, you know that we have a lot of thrift stores in the Birmingham area. So we started this store in what the locals in that area called Thrift Store Alley, because there were 7 thrift stores in a little 5-mile stretch of road. And so they would just start at one and go all the way to the end. It's a very competitive market here in Birmingham. And we've got some big guys. We've got like America's Thrift. We've got Goodwill, Salvation Army, all the big chains. And there's a whole bunch of little mom and pop thrift stores as well. And it's hard to stand out as a thrift store. And so we didn't have any marketing budget. My dad started this on a shoestring. He barely had enough money to get the store open on time. And we had no money for marketing whatsoever. And I had been involved in Facebook ever since it started in 2004. Used it for business ever since then, helping folks get the word out about things. My first book, I sold 2,500 copies of my first book the first year. Did all that most of it through marketing on Facebook. So I thought this would be a great tool for us to use, but the problem is that it can be a little expensive. And so I tried to figure out what kind of strategy should I come up with to make this easier and cheaper so that we could actually afford it. And I came up with my 1-10-10 strategy. And as Andy mentioned, that strategy is very simple to say. We just say it one little sentence. It is 1 post a week. Include at least 10 photos in that post and share it in at least 10 groups on Facebook. So 1 post per week, include at least 10 photos with the post and share it in at least 10 groups on Facebook. You can share it in more, you can include more photos, but those are just the minimums and it makes it easier to remember, 1-10-10. So that's the 1-10-10 strategy that I'll talk to you a little bit about. When I tell people that I do Facebook marketing, always I get asked, why do you just do Facebook? Or do you do other types of marketing as well? And I'll say, no, I just do Facebook. And they'll say, why just Facebook? Why not, also TikTok and YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram and Google SEO? Why not all these other things? And this is the reason why. 69% of US adults are on Facebook an average of 8 times a day. So, and by the way, the number one time, if any of y'all hire employees, Andy, you need to be aware of this, the number one time for people to be on Facebook is during the workday. It's not when they're at home relaxing, it's during the workday. They're on Facebook at the office. But 69% of US adults are on Facebook. The next closest is Instagram. It's also owned by Meta. But the next closest is 37%. So if I can reach 69% of the adult population in one platform, I don't need to bother with the rest of them. So I focus just on Facebook. And that's what I recommend all businesses do to start. Now, as you grow, you're going to need to expand and reach out to others. But for a local business, as they're starting and getting ready for their marketing, they should pick one platform and focus on that one platform. Get really good at that before you move on to the next one. And the best platform to start with is going to be Facebook. Now, Facebook, I skipped a section. Applied locally, 600,000 adults. If you look at that in the Birmingham area, 69% of the Birmingham metro is 600,000 adults that are on Facebook. 82% of those are in the 25 to 50 age bracket. So they're going to be the ones that are out getting your services, buying homes. According to the Pew Research Center, there were about 60 million newspapers printed per day from 1940 to 2000. So every single day, there's 60 million newspapers printed. Now, if we assume an average household with 2 adults, we assume that each newspaper printed was taken home and read by the 2 adults in the household. That gets you a potential readership for the newspaper of 120 million people. Facebook's actual viewership is 180 million people. So there's 120 million people potentially with the newspaper. With Facebook, they know exactly who is on Facebook and what time they're on. There are 180 million adults on Facebook every single day in the US. It made sense from 1940 to 2000 to put ads in the newspaper. And you know, they're, at least those that are old enough, could open up a newspaper and you can look at the real estate section and it's just filled with real estate ads. It made a lot of sense for real estate agents to advertise in the newspaper because that's where everyone went. Everyone was reading it. Well, Facebook is the newspaper of today. That's where everyone is going to get their news. If it made sense to do it back then with the newspaper, it makes a lot of sense to do it now with Facebook. However, there is a problem. Facebook doesn't want to just give you free access to all of their viewers, all their members. They want to charge you for it. So what they do is they only show your content, on average, they show it to 6.4% of the people that follow your page. So if you're a real estate agent, you've got a page for your business that's on Facebook, which if you don't have a business page, you need to have that, not just a personal page, but a business page. And you get, let's say you have 1,000 followers. If you have 1,000 followers and you post something, you post a listing up on Facebook, only 64 of those followers are going to see it. Now, out of that 64, only 3.9% of those are going to take any kind of action on it. So that means you have maybe 2 people. When you put up a post, maybe 2 people will take action if you have 1,000 followers on your page. If you only have 100 followers, only 6 people are going to see it, and most likely none of those 6 are going to do anything about it. So there's a bit of a discouragement there that Facebook doesn't. They used to show everyone that followed your page saw everything that you posted. That's the way it used to be. But they changed that about 2012 or so. They started saying, well, we want to make people pay to play. And so they started throttling back how many people saw what you put up on Facebook. Now, there's a couple of standard solutions. Y'all might be familiar with some of these folks in the books here. These are some of the big marketing books that are out right now. You've got Gary Vaynerchuk, Alex Hormozi. If y'all haven't listened to either of them, you should listen to them a little bit. They both have podcasts, both have YouTube channels, and then of course they have books that are great books to read. But their number one advice for overcoming that 6.4% bottleneck that Facebook puts on your content, their number one advice is just put out more content, as much content as you can. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk this morning, one of his newest videos he put out, and he said you should be putting out 21 pieces of content every single day for a business. And yeah, I had the same reaction. So that's crazy. Well, you think that's bad. Alex Hormozi says you need to be putting out 40 pieces of content every single day for a business to be successful in social media. And so that's the general advice that most marketing gurus are giving. Is that you just need to put out as much content as you can, throw it out on every single platform, put it multiple times a day that you're posting. And it makes a little bit of sense. The idea is that if Facebook only shows this post to 6.5% of your followers, then maybe the next post they'll show to a different 6.4%, and this post they'll show to a different 6.4%. And so if you put a whole bunch of posts out there, eventually everyone that follows your page will see some of your content. Yes and no. There's some problems with that. If every single one of those posts that you put out is a very good post, then yes, there's a potential that everyone that follows your page will see one of those posts. But a lot of times when you throw in quantity, you lose quality. And so people are trying so hard to put out this quantity of posts that the quality suffers. And when you have bad quality, people don't want to spend time interacting with the post. They don't want to read what you say. If you put up a video, they get bored and they don't want to watch the video all the way to the end. And Facebook's algorithm says, okay, they're just swiping past your content. We're going to stop showing it to people. And so the lower quality content they show to fewer people. Another thing with that quality being a problem with quantity is the easy way to get content on Facebook is just share something that someone else did. So if you're a real estate agent and someone has written a great article about home buying, and so you read that article, you think, hey, this is great, I need a piece of content for my Facebook page. So you share a link to that blog article on your Facebook page and you just put up a post that's a link. Well, links take people off of Facebook and to another platform, in this case, the blog. Facebook doesn't like people leaving Facebook because they get money based on how many people see ads on their platform. So they want people to stay on the platform. So if you're posting content that is sending people away from the platform, they're going to penalize that. And they're going to show it to even fewer people. So your 6.4% gets lower and lower and lower if you follow the advice that most of these people put out there. The advice that Facebook wants you to follow is to put a bunch of money behind your content. So the other thing that Gary said in this video or podcast I listened to this morning, he was saying you need to be spending $100 a week for your advertising on Facebook. In addition to creating all that content, you take the best performing ones and you put $100 a week behind it, and that's what you need to do in order to get your name out there. That's what Facebook wants. Facebook wants you to put money behind your content. That's why every post you put up, there's a little boost thing underneath it. They want you to boost it. And they'll put up little things saying you can reach 341 more people if you spend $20. And so you spend $20 and you get 2 more people. So, but that's what Facebook wants you to do, is to boost the post. It can be a good solution. Don't get me wrong. The reason Gary Vaynerchuk is recommending $100 a week is because that actually does work. If you create good content, you put it out there, and you put some money behind it, it actually can get some results. But the thing to keep in mind with paid advertising is like putting gasoline on a fire. You have to have the fire first before you toss the gasoline on it and it explodes. So for a lot of small businesses, the hard part is getting that fire started, getting something that's interested, getting a fan base, getting a lot of followers. That's the hard part. That's what I help with. And then once you have that and you have some income from that, then you can start fanning the flames and throwing a little gas on it by putting some money behind it. But I help people go with an option that is free, an option that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, it doesn't take a whole lot of time like all the 40 pieces of content like Hormozi suggests. My way is this 1-10-10 strategy. Okay, so like I said earlier, it is 1 post a week. That's a whole lot easier than 40 pieces of content a day. Just 1 post a week. For race cars, did you know that race cars get their oil changed after every single hour of driving? So they're driving an hour around the track. It's time to pull into the pit, get an oil change in that race car. How many of y'all change your oil in your car after every hour of driving? Okay, I don't either. That's because none of us have race cars. We drive Honda Civics or Toyota Camrys or Honda Pilots, Chevy, Ford. We don't drive a race car. If you were driving a Honda Civic and you change the oil every single hour, you would see a tiny little bitty performance boost in that Honda Civic. But it's so tiny that it's infinitesimal, you wouldn't even notice it. So it's not worth the investment to change the oil every hour. You will do just fine changing that oil every 5,000 miles or 15 or 20,000 miles, depending on what type of oil you use. So you don't have to do it every single hour. Same thing with Facebook. The people that these big marketing brands work with, they're working with companies like Walmart, Lowe's, Nike, Chevy, Ford. Those people need to put out a lot of content. They're the companies, if you have an international company, you need to be putting out that 21 or 40 pieces of content every day because you have a huge audience that you're trying to reach. And you're not going to be able to reach that audience with just one post a week like I'm recommending. You've got to put out a ton of content to reach that many people. But the average business, one post a week is more than enough. That's plenty to reach out to. My clients get anywhere from 5,000 to 50,000 views every single week just following this strategy. So that you don't have to have all that content that they're telling you to. And then when you're doing this just once per week, anyone can manage that. For my clients just starting out, they take about 2 hours every week. And as they get familiar with it, it speeds up and get it down to an hour a week eventually. But 2 hours a week starting out to put up this content, that's pretty easy to do. Most business owners can afford that amount of time to invest in their marketing. Switch over here. All right, at least 10 photos or graphics per post is the next step. So we have one post per week. That's the first step. Sorry, my brain is lagging a little bit here. I feel kind of bad after Andy raised me up so high, but I just got back 8 hours of travel yesterday, and then my wife had to be at the airport at 4 o'clock today, so I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep. So forgive me for that, but we'll make it through. All right, so 10 photos per post. If you think about a peacock, it has a huge spread of feathers. And so you go to the zoo, you see the peacock, all those feathers. People really pay attention to that. They'll ooh, and they're all over it. They'll point out to their friends, hey, look, there's a peacock. Teenagers will even put down their cell phones for a little bit and look at the peacock, and then they pick it right back up so they can text a picture of the peacock to all their friends. Maybe get a selfie with the peacock in the background. People like seeing a peacock with the feathers all spread. But what would happen if that peacock got lazy and he said, I don't want to put up all these feathers. They're kind of heavy. I just want to put up one feather. And so he puts up just one feather. And maybe the next day he puts up another feather, a different feather. Let's get some variety here. Let's throw up another one. He puts up a third feather on the third day. No one's going to pay attention to it. People they might laugh at him. That's about all they're going to do. Take a few pictures just so they can make fun of him, use them in a meme or something. But when he has that full spread of feathers, people really pay attention. Now, when businesses post on Facebook, most times they just put up one feather at a time. They don't put up a full spread. That's that 10 photos all together at one time. If you put up 10 photos in a post, Facebook puts it into a collage. And they'll show the first 5 photos. The 5th one will be shaded, and it'll have that little plus symbol over the top of it. And so this gets people's attention. They're scrolling through Facebook. They see one photo, one photo, one photo, one photo, one photo, or maybe a video. They're scrolling through and all of a sudden they see, oh, a collection of photos. And they stop and they pay attention to what that is. Now, Facebook monitors every single swipe people do on their phone. So Facebook knows how much time people are seeing your post when you put it up there and how long it stays on that screen before it's gone. And so if your post can slow people down and stop them from just swiping on to the next one, the algorithm likes that. The algorithm says, this is a good post, we're going to show it to more people. And so they show it to more people. In addition to that, that little plus sign there, that's a mystery. That tells the people that are scrolling, there's something hidden, and you have the power to unlock this thing that is hidden. All you have to do is tap here. And so they tap on that plus sign so they can see those hidden photos. That's an interaction. So now your post is not just stopping the scroll, your post is also getting people to interact with Facebook. And the algorithm really likes interactions, because the more people interact, the more time they're going to spend. And if they're interacting with your post, they'll probably interact with a paid ad. And so Facebook is thinking, hey, we can throw a paid ad in here, and this is a customer that is actually going to pay attention. Thank you for helping us keep this person on Facebook and show them some more paid ads. We're going to show your post to more people. And so every single time someone touches the screen or clicks a mouse or swipes to the next photo to see the rest of that collage, that's an interaction, and Facebook gives your post a little bit of a boost in the algorithm. So throwing in those photo collages, the collections of 10 or more photos, is very, very helpful. It's the key to the whole thing, because it gets the algorithm working with you instead of against you. Now, this may not be the case with real estate agents, because real estate agents have lots of photos because you have all your listings. But let's say that you don't have any listings and you don't want to share someone else's listing, and so you're wondering, what could I put up? I don't have 10 photos that I could put up. Well, there's another option. You could put up an infographic. And so, for the example here, 7 tips for new homeowners, and each tip is on a different photo. In fact, it could even be the same photo, just each tip be on a different one of the same photo. And so that, again, gets people to stop. They want to say, hey, I'm a new homeowner. I want to see these 7 tips. Or it may even be someone that's, I like these things like 7 tips for new homeowners. If I saw that, I would click on it, even though, I guess I am now a new homeowner. But I wasn't just before. I would still click on it because I want to see what these tips are. Maybe I can improve the way that I do things around my house. And so they'll tap on that little plus, however many are left, and they want to scroll through and see those. And then this one here is an example of that. I did this for my water filtration client. And so it's just 15 benefits of in-home water filtration. And it's just got all the benefits listed out there. People scroll through, they want to see that. And that, again, triggers the algorithm to show your post to more and more and more people. And so you want to include 10 photos in every single post. The last photo in your collection, by the way, should be a branded photo, and I don't think I have that on there. I don't. Okay. So the last photo in your collection should be a branded photo, something that has your brand on it, so that when people get to that last photo, your information is right there for them to contact you in order to ask about selling a house or buying a house. And if you think about it, all the commercials you see on TV, what's the last thing on the screen when that commercial ends? It's the company's contact information, their brand. There's a reason for that, because the last thing up there is what you remember. And so when they come to the end, you want them to see your contact information so that they can immediately pull out their phone, or if they already have their phone, maybe they can just tap on the number on the screen and give you a call. All right, so we've got 1 post per week, 10 photos per post. And then the next thing is we want to share that in at least 10 local groups. Now on your handout, I have some examples of these groups. Places like What's Happening in Birmingham, What's Happening in Hoover. I use a lot of the What's Happening groups. There's also neighborhood community groups. I think there's like a Shelby County community. There's a couple of those. Just search for groups like that on Facebook and join them as your business. And then when you put up your post with your 10 photos, you share it from the page into those groups. The reason you do that, let's say one of y'all had a new house coming on the market, new listing, and you had an option for the same price. You could put up a billboard out on I-65 or I-59 or something like that. You could put up a billboard, or you could get a little bitty 8x10 sign and put it in your office. Which one's going to get more views? The billboard's going to get more views. The little sign in your office or in your lobby, the only people that will see that are the people that walk in the door of your office. But you put up that billboard, and everyone in the community is going to see that billboard as they pass it on the interstate. That's the difference between posting to your page and then sharing in the groups. Sharing in the groups is like putting out a billboard. Posting on your page is that little lobby sign. The only people that are going to see that are the followers of your page. And most likely only 6.5% of those are going to see it. But let's say you get 100% of them to see it. it's still just the people that follow your page. You're not reaching out to new people. But if you share it into the groups, it gets out like a billboard, and it gets out in front of the community. And so you have groups like What's Happening Trustful, What's Happening Birmingham, What's Happening Pelham. Go and join those groups. Make sure you read the rules first. They all have rules about when businesses can post. Many of them have rules specifically for real estate agents because they don't want the groups to be overrun with real estate ads. So just read the rules, make sure you follow the rules, but join those groups and then share your post into those groups. And then in the group, of course, people see the post, they see those photos, they see that plus symbol, and they interact with it. They swipe to the next photo to see the rest of the house, and it's just like we were talking about with the 10 photos. The whole reason I have the 10 photos so the algorithm will show it to more people. So now you're sharing in these groups. It's people that aren't even following your page that are seeing it, and the algorithm again is saying we need to show this to more people. And so it shows it to more people in that group. Now, we'll never show something you share and What's Happening in Trustful will only be visible to people that are in the group What's Happening in Trustful. That's why I recommend multiple groups. And I recommend at least 10. I've got a list of 130 of them across the state of Alabama that are business friendly. I've vetted and all that. I've got some clients that share in all 130 of them every single week, and they get a ton of attention from it. I've got one client he's just a local auto body shop in Shelby County, and so he shares in, I think he told me it was 65 groups every week. He says that's all the only marketing he does now. He just stays so busy sharing in all those groups. All right, and so that makes the algorithm working for you. That's the key to the whole thing. That 1-10-10 strategy. One post a week. Include at least 10 photos per post. Share it in at least 10 groups. Now the question is, does it work? This is my favorite slide of the whole presentation. This is one of my clients. Have any of y'all ever hired 2 marketing companies to do the same thing? No one? Yeah, it seems kind of silly, right? Well, he did. He hired me and he hired another marketing company to do the same thing. It's just content marketing on Facebook. No paid ads, just put up the content. All of the tall bars are the content that I put in. And so these are the people that were reached. And you can see the first half is 400, and then it goes up to about 900, 1,000, and about 600, 500, somewhere in there. Right about that midpoint, I told him we need to get in more groups. He was sharing about 15 groups. I said, hey, this is working for you. Let's go to some more groups. Let's broaden your area. And he said, okay, let's do it. So we went to more groups, and then it jumped. And it jumped all the way up to 2,800. And so this was the first 2 months that I was working for him. And so those are my results. And down here at the bottom, all the way along the bottom, you can see those itty bitty tiny bars that probably 20, 25, 30 people each one of those. That was what the other company was getting. And so putting up the same strategy as far as just content marketing, no paid ads. And with my strategy, he was getting thousands. With the other person's strategy, he was getting tens and 20s. So it does work. It works really well. By the way, that was Thrive, nationwide marketing company that was doing that for him. Another one of my clients, this is a different type of graph that you can actually see on Facebook if you go to your insights for your page. And I started him at the beginning of January, and we went up a couple thousand the first one, a couple more thousand the next one, and it just kept growing. By the end of the month, he had reached 29,000 plus people. That was over a 2-month period. Reached 29,000 people. The cool thing about this graph, though, is right there at the beginning. It says from ads, 0%. So he reached 29,000 people. He didn't pay a single dime for ads in order to do that over a 2-month period. So the strategy works. It works really well. So that's the strategy. It's 1 post a week, 10 photos per post, shared in at least 10 groups. How do I make money? I just told you how to do everything that I know. The way that I make money, I do several things. I have page reviews. That's where I come in and I analyze your page. Sorry, do you need to go back? All right, I'll come back to this slide in a second. But we have the page reviews. It's a professional look at your Facebook page from someone that's been involved in Facebook from the very beginning. I analyze 24 points for your business page, making sure that it's all proper like it needs to be. For example, one thing a lot of people miss is that this little intro up here with the sentence, for mine, helping businesses harness the power of social media, Facebook used to allow a full paragraph there. Now they allow about 100 characters or so. And so you can see people that have never checked their Facebook page, you can see they'll have a whole paragraph and it just cuts off in the middle of a word. And so it just shows the first couple of characters of it. So I check things like that to make sure everything's good for your Facebook page. I also do page management. Now this one is an exclusive thing. I only do this for 10 clients at a time. I currently have 8 clients, so I have two slots open. If you or someone you know would be interested in me managing the page. And I just do the 1-10-10 strategy for the page. And so that way you just give me the content and I would post it and then I would do the sharing. The sharing is what takes the most time because you can't automate the sharing into the groups. You have to manually copy and paste and click the share button and post it. So that's what takes the most time of it. But if you need someone to do it, like I said, I only do this for 10 clients. I expect most people to just take what I teach them and use that. But for those that want someone else to do it, I do offer that service. I also do training sessions. Now this is this is just a kind of a mini course. Here the full training session is about 2 hours, maybe a little over 2 hours long. But I do training sessions, come in for companies, teach their marketing department or an individual how to do it. That one's $5,000 for individuals or groups up to 100 people. And I just teach them everything, the whole shebang, all my tips and tricks. Cover things like how to take good pictures. The idea, y'all should recognize some of that from learning about how to take good real estate photos. You got the rule of thirds, golden ratio, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, you just throw it all away and take whatever looks good. Little tips like this, like when you're taking pictures for Facebook, a lot of people on their phone, they just have their phones holding it upright, and they just take a portrait mode picture instead of turning it sideways. But you want to turn sideways and take a landscape mode because our eyes are side by side. Our eyes are not up and down. So we perceive the world horizontally. We don't perceive the world vertically. So when we see a vertical picture, we think something's being hidden from us. And so in real estate, you see a vertical picture of, say, a bathroom, and the client is going to think, okay, what are they not showing me in that corner over there? What are they hiding from me? Take that horizontal landscape mode, and it's very welcoming. It lets them think that they're seeing the whole room. And he's locking people out here. So it's much more pleasing. Now there is a place for vertical pictures, for portraits. The reason that it's called portrait mode is because doing the vertical picture was designed for portraits when you want the focus to be on one thing. So when you want the focus to just be on this one thing, that's when the vertical type of pictures is better. Otherwise, horizontal pictures are better. Now, real estate agents generally already know that. They usually take the landscape mode pictures because you can get more in it. In that full training, I also teach how to organize your photos. I teach how to put captions on your photos, what types of captions to use, all that. That's in the full training session. It's $5,000 for that. But I am in need of video. So if you'll let me film it, if you want to invite me to come in and speak to a group and let me film it, I'll cut that down to 50%, so it'll be $2,500 if I can use the video, because with a new business, I need as much video as I can get, and I'm willing to pay for it. I also have several digital downloads. I have a group list for Alabama. I mentioned to y'all 130 groups that I've already vetted and made sure they're business friendly, so you don't have to worry about reading the rules and figuring out if they're business friendly. You do still need to read what day they want real estate agents to post on. But that's 130 of those. I sell that online. I sell the checklist that I actually put out, and then also I have an online course. What's on there now is a $500 course. That one is my, I guess, a rough draft. I did it several months ago when I was first getting started in this business. I am in the process of getting a newly revised version that's going to be much more extensive. It's going to be the full 2-hour presentation, all in an online course format. That one's going to be $2,000, but the rough draft is available for $500. Same content, just not very well presented. All right, so the 1-10-10 strategy is 1 post per week, at least 10 photos per post, shared in at least 10 groups. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
My first question, I saw that you were posting every day, pretty much 7 days apart. Is there a particular day that is the best?
Yes, that's a good question. Yeah. Remember when I said that the groups have rules about when you can post in the groups? When businesses can post? About half of the groups in Alabama, at least, they require businesses to post on Monday. And so I just chose, if half of them are having me post on Monday, I'm just going to post on Monday for all of them. Now, there are some that have businesses post on Tuesday. I found one that has businesses post on Saturday. I don't know why they decided to just be different from everyone else, but those couple of groups wanted to be different. So I don't usually post in those groups just because I'm so busy posting in all the others on that one day. Now, real estate is a little different. Some of them they want businesses to post on this day except real estate. And let's say I want real estate to post on this day. So I would create a spreadsheet and organize it exactly which group wants you to post on which day, and then decide which day you want to do most of your sharing in based on that. But yeah, that's a good question. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts about maintaining and posting on the business Facebook page as well as personal page?
Right, yeah, I prefer business for anyone that's in business. The reason for that is because the business page has so many extra features that you don't get with the personal page. Facebook has the Meta Business Suite, and you can go in and look at all of your insights and look at how things are performing. A good example of how I use that, back Valentine's Day, you had Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl both kind of close together. For several of my businesses, I didn't even think about, this is Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl. I was just kind of oblivious to it. For some reason, it didn't get on my radar for either one. I guess because I don't watch TV, so I don't get all the advertisements. So we didn't do anything focused on that for most of them. Well, I have one client is an art gallery, and they requested a Valentine's themed post for their art gallery. They got over 12,000 views for that post. Everyone else went from 5, 6, 7,000 views per post. They went down to about 800, 5, 6, 7, 800 per post for that week, because Facebook was focusing on the Super Bowl and Valentine's. And so I could see that right away in the insights and say, okay, we messed up here because we didn't focus on what Facebook was focusing on, what they were promoting. And so, come the Olympics, I said, all right, Olympics are coming up. We're going to make sure everyone has something that has to do with the Olympics in their post. And it would be things like, gold medal roofing service, or Olympic quality for my water filtration company. I did how do they clean the Olympic swimming pools, and we did an infographic on the things that they would use to clean the water for the Olympic swimming pools.
So you would recommend then keeping your business posts strictly the business page, and keeping your personal page, just keep that personal stuff?
For the most part, yeah. Now, you can share anything business related. I would have originate with the business page.
Yeah.
And you can share from the business page to your personal.
That's what I typically do.
Yeah.
Because I have more followers on my personal than I do on business.
Right. Yeah. So for the most part, yeah. Any other
One more
questions?
not agree. So the 6.9% that you said, because it kind of goes along with what you were saying, the 6.9, like I usually, anything that's business, I post on my business page and then I share it on my personal. So I have like 500 followers on one and like 2,500 on the other. So I always share it to the other one. Do you still only get the 6.9 when you do that on the personal page?
It's a little bit more with the
Okay.
personal, but no one really knows exactly how much more. No one outside of Facebook, because they don't release that information.
I was just look, like, in
Right.
the, where it tells you you can see, because like if I post, it sounds weird, but if I post me with a house, I'll get way more views than if I post like just a random, like you said, the content.
Mhm.
Like they want to see houses or see you, they don't want to see like top not the top things, but like, what's the number one thing to do? If nobody clicks that, nobody does anything with it. I guess because we're probably all posting the same
Yeah, they
thing.
see a lot of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the personal, the depth of the insights is not there in order to calculate exactly how much effect the posts are having. But I share stuff on my personal page a lot. Any other questions, criticisms, rotten tomatoes? All right, Andy, I guess I finished right at 10:30.
Perfect.
Yeah.